Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Football Chaos Show. I am your host, the Sam Adams analyst, Thad Sosa. I'm here today with two studs. I got Steve and Lobo with me here. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
Just hanging in there, man. It's preseason time.
What
about you, Lob?
It's a beautiful day, man. I got to see my boy Gibby play. I got to see my boy Najee play. It's a good day when both of those guys play. So it's going good, man.
Yeah, it's been some pretty good games so far already. I know I was checking out the Philly game, watching Hurts out there, and he was looking pretty good to me.
Yeah, Hurts looked good. Steve, as a Philly fan, you're probably are you set in stone with Hurts as your quarterback over Joe Flacco?
Yeah. Even though Flacco did have a nice pass there to Watkins, 79-yard score. So perhaps Wacko for Flacco is back. Who knows? I don't know.
It's kind of weird to hear the phrase "nice pass to Watkins."
That's true.
Right.
We haven't heard that in a while. So, well, today we got something special for all you guys. We're going to do a little mock draft here. Just a 12-team super flex. And before we get into that, though, there's a couple news things that came out. I just want to blow through them real quick and get your guys' thoughts on them. Number one, the big one, Josh Allen signed his big boy deal this week. $258 million over 6 years?
Yeah.
150 million guaranteed. I mean, that's the only bigger contract than that is Mahomes. I mean, what do you guys think about that? You think is he worth it? After one season, you think he gets that kind of payment?
I do. I do, because from his rookie season to this past season, not only individually, but as a team, they showed tremendous progress. So I think he's shown enough that he's the kind of quarterback that the franchise can build around. For example, from 2019 to 2020, he improved his pass yards by 1,500 yards, added on 17 more pass touchdowns, took the Bills from a 10-6 record to a 13-3 record, where they got all the way to the AFC Championship and unfortunately came up short. So if I'm a team, I'm absolutely willing to pay that guy up through when he's 31 years old, which you're just gonna get his best years in that big contract there. So I 100% think it's worth it for sure.
I'm 100% with you there, Steve. I think there was concerns coming out of college for him, and I think the biggest piece was the accuracy. And it was, can he throw the ball? And we saw him struggle in his first couple of years, and that accuracy just went up and up and up every year. And obviously, I know we talk about Stephon Diggs kind of opening that up for him a little bit, but in all reality, I mean, we saw the numbers trending up anyways. Did Stephon Diggs help that? Absolutely. But, I think their one concern is no longer a concern, and he's an elite quarterback, man. He deserves that. And, he doesn't just make it through the passing game if needed, which I don't think we'll see much of this year personally, of him running the ball much, but he's the complete package, man. So he's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm right there with you. I think he definitely took that next step last season. And even if he doesn't take another step this season and plays like he did last season, I think it's still good enough to earn something like that. Yeah. He is locked in. He can't hit free agency until 2029. They are locked in with him. They made sure that his ass is staying right there in Buffalo and nowhere else. He's going to be early 30s, I think, by that time, 31, 32, somewhere around there. So they've got his prime years with him right now, and then they'll figure out what to do with him after that. So I agree. I think he was worth every penny that they gave him. I think, unfortunately, all these other teams around the league are looking at that contract and thinking, oh my gosh, now what is Lamar going to ask for? What's Kyler going to ask for? And he's number 2 on the list right now. I don't think that's going to last very long once these rookie deals get done. So
I agree with that.
Preseason started. Finally. We're finally there. I mean, with the Hall of Fame games, everybody was excited for that, but we are officially in preseason. We got 2 games going on as we speak. It's kind of go time here for a lot of these redraft leagues. Everybody's starting to get together. Everybody's looking at, what they should be doing. I know we've only had two. Have you guys like what you've seen so far from a couple of these starters?
I can start with that one. I was very happy to see the momentum for the Steelers, and I'll start with the Steelers because we've now seen 2 games from them. And we've kind of seen like a faster pace from the Steelers. I think last year we saw a lot of slower pace, and obviously they had very, very little run game contributing to that offense last year, hence why Big Ben threw the ball most in the NFL last season. But they look like they flow better. And I mean, mind you, we haven't seen Big Ben. It's been all Mason. Gross, but that's really what we've seen. And to see
Dwayne Haskins just threw a touchdown, by the way.
Oh, to who?
I don't even know.
He just threw one, which is great.
Anthony Johnson.
To who?
Anthony Johnson. Yeah, exactly. To who?
Okay. All right. Well, in
22-yard touchdown.
Yeah. In that case, it really does lead me to believe Dwayne Haskins has just looked better than Mason.
Well, so I mean, he's 11 for 12 for 92 and 1 right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, see that? I mark my words. I think Dwayne is the backup there. So
I think that was a good signing for them. He struggled everywhere else, but I think he's gonna. If Big Ben goes down, I think it'll be the Haskins show.
Yeah. No, it's been awesome to see. So what about you, Steve?
It's tough to watch a lot of the games with the kiddos around.
I get that.
But
yeah.
It's just kind of how it goes. You pay all this money for cable, then you can't even watch the game. So
no, I get that. Yeah.
But from what Najee Harris was able to do in the Hall of Fame game, the big thing that jumped out to me was just the sheer amount of volume he was given from the get-go. Played maybe a quarter of the game and he already had 8 touches, 7 on the ground, and 1 catch. Not super efficient, which is somewhat expected with the shaky offensive line there in Pittsburgh, but that volume is what we like to see for sure.
Nope, I'm right there with you. I think that I'm glad that you brought up Najee because that's kind of the next point I wanted to touch on real quick. The last one was that Hall of Fame game. He looked like a rookie to me. I know that the Hall of Fame game, God knows who's out there playing on the line, who's playing on the defense. It's pretty much anybody who isn't playing the regular season is playing right now. But as high as everybody is on him, I guess I expected just a little bit more out of what he did. 7 for 22. That's not, that's little over 3 yards on average per rush. That's not high. That's on the lower end of the scale here. And if people are drafting him, I'm not saying he's going to continue to do that. He very well could get into the regular season and start putting up 4.5 yards a carry once things start to get real. But in that game, I was not overly impressed. 1 catch for 3 yards. He's a rookie, so I think he did fine. He did what I kind of expected him to be, but the hype, I think, is what made me kind of be let down a little bit. What do you think, Steve?
My initial response is probably maybe the defense was just kind of planning on respecting his game rather than Rudolph's. If it's Ben Roethlisberger,
obviously,
even though his arm, exactly. So just from like a game planning standpoint, I think maybe that's what they chose to focus in on. Plus, it's first time on the NFL field.
The jitters, I'm sure, were
exactly.
in him,
Even though like at Alabama, they're still playing good competition and all that.
Yeah, there's a difference though. It's a whole other. You're in the show now.
Right. I think maybe once Roethlisberger's out there, defenses won't be able to just hone in on just like the run game. They'll have to be a little bit more, But
you got 3 other receivers out there you got to respect also on top of Najee. Big Ben can go anywhere with it, really. Somebody's going to be open at some point. What do you think, Lobo?
And it's also worth. I liked what I saw. I think based on the first thing you said, Steve, which was volume.
Yes, I will give you that. He did have all the volume that I expected him to have, especially in such an early season game.
And considering everyone dogged on the Pittsburgh line, offensively, so they were atrocious last year.
Yeah.
And this lineup that they had, and that was the first time that they've actually been, in a game together. All of them. And I think that was another big piece of that is just like, they're trying to figure it out just as much as the G is. So, I mean, I think for the first game, I liked what I saw. I liked his involvement in the passing game. He had a couple good blocks on that offensive where he did block for Mason. So he's got that blocking in place. And obviously, tonight he only got three touches, and I
better
think,
with them.
Yeah. And I think Tomlin has seen enough from him already. And there's no point in wearing your star running back for the season down in the first 2 preseason games. So
yeah,
I'm excited for him week 1, and I'm getting him everywhere I can. So
yeah, get him out. I mean, give him some game experience. You kind of let the butterflies out, even though it's only preseason, he's still playing in an NFL game, so let him kind of get used to the scene, and hopefully by the time, week 1 rolls around, that he'll be good to go for 4.5 to 5 yards a carry and catching, 6-7 passes a game and 6 touchdowns. So awesome. All right. We blew through that perfectly. That's exactly how I wanted that to go. So we got this mock draft going. You guys ready?
Let's do this.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So I just closed out of it. Hold on. I didn't close out of it. My tablet did. There we go. Okay. So we got Lobo picking 2. We got Steve picking 8. I am picking 10. There's going to be a couple opportunities for some good sniping going on, it seems like. So we'll see what happens. We got 1-minute clocks. You guys ready?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. And just to confirm,
yep,
you said there is, okay, it is a super flex. Okay,
super
awesome.
Flex,
wanted to make sure. So, and just to confirm for everybody, we got a QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, a tight end, 2 flex positions, and a super flex. Okay.
Exactly. And then 5 bench spots on top of that.
Cool. Let's do this.
All right. So first team on the clock, obviously. Take a guess who it is. Christian McCaffrey. Right to you, Lobo. What are you thinking, bud? You got pretty much anybody at your disposal. Oh, Patrick Mahomes right off the bat.
I want
pretty running back heavy right now, it seems.
Yeah. And obviously, I think Sleeper does in a super flex setting. Sleeper always puts the running backs for whatever reason on top.
Yes.
And obviously in a super flex league, quarterbacks are just so crucial, man, especially in a 12-man league.
Yeah.
It's important to grab those QBs early. So yeah, Mahomes, no doubt.
All right. We got Steve on the clock here. Big man right there, Josh Allen. Good job.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah, I'm absolutely prioritizing at least a top 6 quarterback in Superflex. For me, it would be, well, I'm not going to say the whole list because they might come back to me. So,
no, it's okay.
Josh Allen is my number 2.
We're not sitting here with a pen and paper or anything. So,
right. So Josh Allen is my number 2. I don't know if I would actually be able to get him at the 8 spot in a real draft, but that was like a smash opportunity right there.
Well,
so
especially in a super flex. Yeah. You're not going to and I'm kind of in the same boat right now. My number 1 QB is still here. It's my man, Kyler. So that's who I'm going with. I think he would have made it back to me, but I mean, why take the chance? He's there. It's a super flex league. I'd rather take him now than not.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen Kyler go as early as 4, 5, 6 in super flex leagues. So, exactly. I mean, that's a steal at 10.
Exactly. And then after Kyler finished out the first round, it goes Devontae Adams and Austin Eckler. That was my man right there. And then to start the second round, we got Nick Chubb, Travis Kelce. I was going to ask you guys about Kelce. What do you think? Eventually, he's not going to be tight end 1, right? Like, we're set that there's some point that he won't be there. When do you see something like that happening?
Man, based on that offense in Kansas,
I'm going to run out of time here.
I still give him another 2 to 3 years. at least, of him being a solid top 3 tight end.
Top 3 is fine.
Yeah. The next 2-3 years, I think he's top 3. I mean, a healthy, Steve with the Gibby pick. Hurts my heart. But
yeah,
no,
sniped him full half round ahead of him.
Yeah. Hurts my heart. Darn, running backs are going crazy. I mean,
that's why I had to take one.
I mean, I got to go with my boy Najee.
There you go.
And then
at the end of the second, that's a sweet spot, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And
absolutely.
In a super flex, here we go.
I'm fine with Najee there at the end of the second round. I mean, the problem is you're so far that you were going last in the second round anyway. But second round goes Nick Chubb, Travis Kelce. I ended up going with Aaron Jones. I'm super high on him this year. I think Dylan is more of a runner than Jamal Williams was. Jamal Williams took a lot of pass opportunities from him. So I'm really high on Aaron Jones this year. Ezekiel Elliott, Steve goes Antonio Gibson. And then after that, we had a little wide receiver run between Hopkins, Diggs, and DK Metcalf. Mm-hmm. Joe Mixon went in the second round. I don't know what to think of Joe Mixon. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm out. Yeah, I want to be in, but I'm out. That's the thing. I hear all these things, and I am just out. I can't. It's almost like a Jonathan Taylor situation where I can't picture myself. I can't draft him right now. Yeah. He's going way too early than I'm comfortable to draft him.
Steve can tell you all about how he feels about Joe Mixon, and I
already did.
I completely going through, and he'll preach it, and I think a lot of those pieces are very valid, man. And some of the reports that you see from training camp, in which that offensive line is struggling, Joe Burrow's struggling, and because of that, he looks just crazy and all over the place. And I mean, I love Chase, but I was actually just talking about this the other day with Shane, and a couple other guys over there with the Polypodathon, and they should have gone with Sewell, man. If they would have gone with Sewell, Mixon goes up the boards. You're talking about Burrow going up the boards. Hell, You're looking at Higgins and Boyd both going up the board. I mean, they should have done that for their future. Obviously, the main reason that they get Chase is, personally, they did it for the money. Like how great were Chase and Burrow at LSU and all those pieces. So they should have gone Sewell, and obviously that's why I'm down on Mixon. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's recency bias. I don't know if I guess I just haven't had a lot of exposure to him just in general over the last however many years. I just can't pull the trigger on him. I will always find somebody else. I want to do it. I know everybody else wants him on their roster and are super high on him. I guess I like sure things, and I don't think Mixon is a sure thing. He's good. I don't think he's I don't think he's as sure of a thing as a second round pick. I'll put it that way.
Yep.
I think that's too high for my comfort level.
Yeah, he is definitely a guy I'm only going to be getting at what I would consider like an extreme discount. So in this case, I'm not going to be the guy who's going to draft him. The offensive line worries me. Their putrid defense worries me. I just don't like any scenario in which his quality of touches is going to be strong. And that really worries me for a second round pick, even though he's going to get all this volume, which is nice,
Exactly.
But I just fear it's going to be quite inefficient. That's my fear. So he actually comes in as my running back 17. So I'm not going to be getting him in any draft. But if he actually does show that he can get it done, I will absolutely try to target him in season via trade. You know what I mean? Like that's just how I'm going to go into the Joe Mixon situation. Yeah, so it kind of gives me the big pause there. And then back to the Bengals draft. I'm with you with you guys. I absolutely wanted the Bengals to get Sewell, not only to protect Burrow, but if their plan was to get another wide receiver, well, they could have gotten like Terrace Marshall in the early second, so you start Sewell and then Marshall. Is that different than Chase and whoever else they got in the second? I don't know. So I don't know. That just really drove me kind of crazy, but.
Yep. I know. I hear you. It's kind of funny because I was hoping that they would take Sewell because the Lions picked right after that, and I wanted Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that he would have been great for them. I mean, I'm not upset with Sewell. He was like the number 2 or number 3 prospect, like overall for the entire draft. So I think it was a steal with him, but I wanted that receiver help. I think their line is good enough. I mean, it obviously always can be better, but all right, just to catch everybody up, round 3 went Justin Jefferson. Lobo took Dak Prescott for his second QB. Not worried about that leg or his shoulder or whatever else ailments he's dealing with right now. Toenail hurting or something like that. Deandre Swift. What do you guys think of Deandre Swift this year?
I love Swift.
I do too. Okay.
I love Swift. I'm hoping he can heal quickly. He's dealing with a groin injury right now. I think it is either a groin or a hamstring. But man, the opportunity, and to your point, that offensive line is ranked number 10 going into the season this year.
I think they're going to finish way higher than that.
Dude, I mean, and obviously that correlates directly with Swift. And the biggest component to that is, like you mentioned, is the wide receiver room is not very stacked. So what that does is it clearly opens up the door for Swift. If he can get healthy, man, he's up there with Eckler and Kamara on how many receptions he can get this year. I mean,
yeah, I think he can be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, dude. I haven't projected if he can stay healthy. I haven't projected at 81 targets this year, which would be, hopefully right around 65 receptions, 65. And that's ideally and realistically what I think he can do, but he's got to get healthy. So I'm hoping he does.
Yep. I agree. So after Swift goes Darren Waller, who's been kind of injured lately. Hopefully he comes back with an undisclosed injury. There's CEH, Dobbins, Calvin Ridley, Lamar Jackson goes to Steve. Good pickup, Steve. Josh Jacobs. I went with Scary Terry, not Terry Scary. Mike Evans, Keenan Allen round out the 3rd round. 4th round starts Miles Sanders, Julio Jones. I went with Allen Robinson. I figure that's a pretty good wide receiver too to get. I think he gets 150 targets. I mean, no matter what team he plays for, who's throwing to him, they know that he's the alpha out there. Chris Carson. Steve takes David Montgomery. Darrell Henderson goes in the 4th round. Mari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Travis Etienne, Mark Andrews, and then Lobo with the CD Lamb pick. Congratulations on that. Kareem Hunt. That's a little early for me in the 4th round for Kareem Hunt, but. And then to start the 5th round, Cooper Kupp. Lobo goes DJ Moore. We got little wide receivers kind of going on here. DJ Moore, Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett go 2, 3, and 4. Kyle Pitts off the board at tight end 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry.
5. Yeah.
And then Russell Wilson after that. All right, now that everybody's caught up, Kyle Pitts, he's another one of those who's and now Steve's on the clock. Myles Gaskin goes after Russell Wilson. What are you thinking here, Steve? Are you going tight end? You're gonna go another quarterback? Oh no, you already got 2.
No,
you're gonna go wide receiver here.
Definitely going wide receiver. Think about just sticking true to my personal rankings, which at this point I have Thielen slightly ahead of Chase. So I'm going to go with Thielen and then hope I can get a solid. Well, Chase goes right after naturally.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm going to be smashing wide receiver for a while here, which is fine because I actually really love the group of wide receivers that are coming up. Just hope that they continue to be there. We'll see.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's kind of what you do. There's a lot of running. This is a running back heavy first couple of rounds here. I'm actually kind of surprised. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
surprised with some of them, but Kareem Hunt in the fourth, that's a little early for me, for somebody who I wasn't as impressed. I think he's a great running back. I think he had the opportunity last year to really shine in a couple of those games, and he played not a whole lot better than he does when Chubb was on the field.
Yeah. He actually put up more points with Chubb on the field.
Exactly. Isn't that crazy?
Than when Chubb got hurt. And that's where, for me, I saw the value dip just a little bit because I expected him to pop when Chubb was not on that field and when he was getting the majority of those carries. So, I'm not as big on Hunt either. I still think he's a very solid handcuff, but
absolutely.
At the end of the fourth, for me, it's too early.
Yeah, that's way too early for me. Michael Thomas goes off the board at the 602. That's I wonder if Sleeper knows that he's gonna miss the first God knows how long, to be honest with you.
It looks like Team 11 is gone with a true 0 RB build. So
yes, they
more
are.
Power to them.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, Team 11: Devonta Adams, Travis Kelce, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Justin Herbert, Michael Thomas. They're not only 0 RB. There's a couple hopes and prayers on there too. I'm not as high on Mike Evans this year. I think he might hit 1,000 yards, but I think that's end of the season stats. I think he's almost like a Tyler Lockett to me, where he has huge games, but then he's got games where if he doesn't score that 2-yard touchdown, he's a bust.
Yeah.
That's what worries me with him.
He's a guy I just can't quit. I just love the way
everybody's
he plays.
Got him.
So I'm still pretty bullish on him, but it is understandable. It's quite the trio with him, Godwin, AB. It's I think there could be some truth to what you're saying. So I think that's some pretty wise caution, that you have with him. But yeah.
Let me ask. Are you fading Evans because of Antonio Brown, or are you fading him because of Tom?
It's more, I guess if I had to pick between the two, I would say Antonio Brown. But I also think that Tom Brady, he spreads the ball around a lot, and I am higher on Antonio Brown than I think a lot of other people. And a lot of it comes down to they design plays for Antonio Brown. Mike Evans, he's a great red zone threat. He's a great end zone threat. He can catch the ball just about in front of anybody who's guarding him, but he's not the alpha number one on that team anymore. I think Godwin is there to soak up a lot of that. Antonio Brown and Tom Brady loves Antonio Brown so much that he's willing to be roommates with him. So I'm not. I think he's a great player. I have no problem with him on my team. I have a problem with him on my team in the third round.
Yeah.
That's too early for my wide receiver one, I guess, is really what it is.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
So finish out the round 5. I ended up TJ Hawkinson. I am finding out that I'm way higher on him. To be honest, because I know I'm so much higher on him, I know I can wait until at least the 5th round to get him. Because I know he's not going. That worked out pretty well because I was able to get Robinson and then pick up Hawkinson after that instead of letting another top end wide receiver fall through my fingers. I was a little surprised that Kyle Pitts went before Hawkinson, but to be honest, I'm actually also not. He's another one of those kind of we were talking about with Najee, is that he's a rookie. I think for him to return that tight end 5 draft capital that you just invested, he's got to have probably the best season that a tight end has ever had. Yep. And I don't, not that he can't do it, I just don't. I'm playing the field on that one, I guess, is really what it is. Are you guys high on Kyle Pitts?
I love Hawk.
Okay.
I am very intrigued by Pitts. I think you made the right move there. Getting Hawkinson in that spot, but Pitts is a targets. I think he could easily lead the Lions in
I think he's
targets,
going to.
receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
Exactly.
I'm like
That's
all in.
exactly
I
where
think
I
that's
am.
a very possible scenario, especially because of the way that Jared Goff plays. I just think he could just kind of settle in on Hawkinson. Role. Exactly. So I'm very much in on Hawkinson for sure.
Which is also the exact same reason why I'm so high on Swift, is because even though they say that he's not a big check down guy, for one, it's not like he can't not check down. It's not hard to, when you're in trouble, see your outlet over there. But at the same time, Deandre Swift also, he can run routes. I mean, he does great.
I was trying to see, so I was trying to find my tweet. And obviously, like, the last thing is, I know Kyle Pitts is different. He's built different. He's a different breed. But typically rookie, he's a unicorn, dude.
Yeah. Did you know that he's already has his Hall of Fame jacket in his closet?
Yeah. I mean, most guys don't.
Already hasn't even played a game yet. They got it for him the draft night. He got that jersey from Goodell, and then in the back they had to wait for him.
Yeah. No, it's crazy to me to see that, how much hype he's getting. I mean, I'm one of those guys. I love Pitts, but realistically, rookie tight ends just don't produce. And I mean, could he be the first? Why not, dude?
Absolutely.
He's getting so much praise, getting all this, and obviously they trade Julio. When he first went to Atlanta, my very first thought is they're trading Julio the next day. Like, there is no chance that they keep Julio, keep Pitts, and there's so many gaps in that offense and so many gaps on that team that they keep him. So will he benefit from that? Absolutely. His numbers went up a little bit in my projections after they traded Julio, but I mean, we'll see what happens. But I like Pitts. I am bigger on Hawk just based on everything, but yes.
All right. Steve's on the clock. He picks up T. Higgins. I went Deontay Johnson.
Did see that. I didn't care for that.
I think he's the number one. I truly do. I think he can do it. Even when he was dropping passes left and right, he was still getting thrown to all the time. He's the Pittsburgh receiver that I want. I guess I'll just put it that way. It's pretty close between him and Claypool.
For sure.
Not anymore.
And you took him from me, so that's fine.
Yeah. So we're cool. It's all good. T. Higgins, that's not a bad pick either, though. After T goes Juju. I'm surprised Juju went before Claypool. Juju, Chase Edmonds, Kenny Golladay, Mike Davis, Javonte Williams. That's because Claypool was there for Lobo. That's why.
Look at that. Ooh, that's a beautiful wide receiver.
That was. Devontae Smith, Raheem Mostert. Ooh, that's Ronald Jones, DJ Chark, Aaron Rodgers finally goes off the board. I'm not super high on him this year. He's have you seen him? He's a little thin, little beer belly going. Too much beach time.
Who's that?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I guess he doesn't
looking
need to
a little surfer boy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still Aaron Rodgers. It's not like he didn't lose anything, but
right.
It's just I don't know. Sometimes it's just those gut feelings where I look at kind of like his off season, what he was doing and just kind of hanging out. I was like, you gotta focus on your job here at some point. Like, he was doing some kind of beach workouts at some point, but I don't know. There's some of these guys who, I'm not going to lie, I don't have the greatest reasons why I don't like them. Some of it is just gut. I just can't feel myself doing it.
I will say,
welcome to fantasy football.
Yeah, I was going to say part of it is he clearly doesn't want to be in Green Bay. He expressed that multiple times. So
he's going to get traded next year.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think in his new contract, he's eligible to pick where he wants to go next year. So I personally think I think we see him with the Saints, man. I think he leaves next year, goes to the Saints, and I think the Saints do a complete revamp. I think the Saints go after Gallup. I mean, I think we're going to see a very aggressive Saints team next year for a win-all because you got to figure Kamara next year is 27 years old.
He's going to start being on the other side of the hill here soon.
Yeah, that dip is going to start coming soon. Typically, the age 27 is where you start to see that dip. in running backs, and his usage is so up there. I mean, I think we could see him there. I think it'd be cool to see him there, but I mean, just all speculation. And to your
That
point,
would be wild for them
yeah.
to have 2 Hall of Famers right there in a row like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lobo. Let's see. You went Ronald Jones. Steve went Jerry Jeudy. Jalen Waddle goes after
Great
that.
pick. Dude. Great pick with
Great
Jeudy.
pick. Yes.
Yeah, great pick with Jeudy.
Who do you think the
Yeah,
quarterback's gonna be throwing to him?
Who's going to be throwing passes to him?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
exactly.
All I know is that whoever's throwing to him, he's just very much like a Keenan Allen to me, just like tremendous route runner. Just really amazing to see just how he can move and get open. It's great. So I think he'll put it together. He had a little bit of like the dropsies last year, but
Yeah.
I think for his sake, I think right now I'm thinking I would probably prefer Teddy Bridgewater, but Locke is just a little inconsistent, a little up and down, kind of erratic, but I think for Judy's sake, I would prefer Bridgewater, but I just know what I just know how he can get open, and as my wide receiver 3, considering how my team started, I love that.
Wide receiver 3 to have Jeudy, man, that's
a good one.
Yeah, that's a freaking steal.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So your daddy is on the clock here. I'm going to reach a little bit on this one. I am super high on this guy this year. I'm going receiver. I love receivers that also contribute to the passing, or not the passing game, also the run game.
Oh.
I'm going Chenault.
Chenault. I knew it.
Going Chenault.
You said that.
Yep. I love it. He's one of those. It's kind of like Robert Woods. I love Robert Woods over Kupp simply because they use him in things like jet sweep. I mean, that's just more points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have been super high on Chenault this year. I am excited for him. And as my wide receiver 4, I mean, can't miss with that. And then round out the round is Melvin Gordon, Robbie Anderson, Cortland Sutton. Brandon Cooks goes in the 8th round. Little high for you guys, or is that about right?
Underrated, man. I mean, I think 8th round is right for him. I mean, no matter who's throwing the ball, that man
1,000 yards anyway. I don't think it matters who's throwing the ball to him either.
Yep.
All right. God, I got a decision to make here. And oh my God, I got to make it fast too. Oh shit.
You can pause it.
Okay.
We're not gonna.
I know. I might have
we're not
to
gonna
just
rag on
because
you for pausing it.
we talked through my picks. It's your guys' fault. So
Can I just point out that in a super flex league for everyone listening, this is typically not what happens in a super flex. And the reason I say that is because I'm looking at the QB board at the QB room right now, and you've got Brady, Lawrence, Burrow, Stafford, Hurts, Tannehill, Baker, Matt Ryan, and we're in the 8th round in a super flex. That usually does not happen.
Yep. There's one QB I'm waiting to take later, and I hope you guys don't know who it is. You might, Lobo, because I think we've talked about it before. But there's one guy that I've been picking everywhere. And I'm not going to say his name because when you guys are going to snipe him from me.
No, I've got my 2 quarterbacks. I'm set. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But,
I want him in about the 10th round, which is where I've always been taking him, and it'll be perfect. And that's all I'm saying. Okay, right. I need a running back. I gotta have a running back here. I have only got Aaron Jones, and that's just because I didn't like any of the running backs that I saw, and I gotta try and find. I might go.
Don't you do it, and Steve, don't you do it.
Oh boy.
I have been ready for this pick.
He's got his finger on the button like that
for a while, so I am just like.
There's a couple guys I got.
Something happens that
I like Kenyon Drake here. Let's see. I like Kenyon Drake here. I like Damian Harris, but I'm worried that Cam Newton is going to start the whole season. It's a little early for Trey Sermon for me, just because I just don't know. He's another one of those rookie situations. I don't like Moss. I don't like Singletary just because they play for Buffalo. That's just a personal preference for me. I gotta go some kind of RB1 here. I gotta go. Just gotta close my eyes and do it. I gotta go Drake.
Good.
Sweet.
I think he's gonna get a lot of those passes out there. I think he's gonna take over a lot of what Josh Jacobs was supposed to be and what he doesn't do. I don't think they signed him to just be a slub.
Boys, this is an alpha pick. Steve, I thought you were going with our boy.
Yeah, I was considering it, but
I bet it made you nervous when I brought up his name, huh?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
He took Damian Harris.
I was eyeing up Sermon, and I got him, so I was very happy about that. But Harris was definitely my fallback if he wasn't there. So, Lobo, you get the spoils there.
Yeah, it was between Drake and Harris, I think, for me, and I went with Drake. I mean, Harris, that's a great pick. I worry about the goal line touches. I think if Cam starts, he won't get them.
Okay. All right.
I do think they're trying to include him more, though. They definitely are. Sure. He has been showing out in camp this year. He's been looking fantastic.
He looked good tonight, dude. He looks quick. He hits the holes hard. He looks fantastic.
I haven't checked up on him tonight, actually.
Let's see how he did.
Now that you say that.
He looked good, man.
Let's see. Harris went 4 for 17. That's not bad.
Yeah, 4 for 17. Man, Jarrett Patterson, man. I'm glad he's getting some playing time tonight.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love him.
Dude, 10 carries for 40 yards and 4 receptions for 30 yards, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right. So 9th round. Oh, let's finish off the 8th round. After he took Harris, went James Conner. And then 9th round goes Matthew Stafford, Tyler Boyd. Oh, that one hurts. Team 3 is no longer friends. Oh my gosh. And I was going to take him. Oh, Ryan Tannehill goes at the 903. That is my boy this year. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that happened.
With the Julio edition, that's a fire pick.
The Julio edition, he runs, he scores rushing touchdowns. God, I love Tannehill this year. And they suck.
Yeah, I think
that was a huge bummer.
I think Tannehill was my single biggest riser. Because I put out a set of rankings before the NFL draft just to kind of do a little experiment, see where I was before the draft and after. And those will be coming out in about a week or so. But either way, he was my single biggest riser over the last 4 months there. So the addition of Julio was massive. For sure.
And then after that snipe goes Antonio Brown. I liked him too. Logan Thomas, Jalen Hurts, Mike Gesicki, Zach Moss, Robert Tonyan. Wow, he went late. I would have taken Tonyan in front of Goddard and Fant, I think. I definitely would have taken him in front of front of Thomas and Gesicki. I think in front of
Goddard and Fant. Wow.
Maybe not Goddard, but Fant. Fant makes me nervous. I would have taken him for sure in front of Logan and Gesicki. I think his touchdowns come down, but I think Rodgers uses him a little bit more in between the 20s instead of just the end zone. I think he proved himself last year, and he's a pretty trusted hands out there for him now.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I had that Tannehill all set up and ready to go. Shut the front door with that one. All right. Let's go. Let's see. What do I like here? I like the Zach Moss pick there, Steve.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just bank on the potential upside of both Sermon and Moss. I think they just as like flex options, right?
Yeah.
I went a little
Trey
heavy
Sermon could be a big one this year.
Well, I just happen to love Trey Sermon because
we all.
I recognize that I actually learned that he was the highest drafted running back of the who's their GM of the John Lynch era as GM. So that is very telling to me, even amongst the full house of running backs that they have. So I really love the urgency to want to get a guy like that in their team. I love Kyle Shanahan's scheme, but what really sticks out to me is the 49ers playoff schedule. It is just for fantasy football. It is just like juicy matchups.
Yeah.
It is stupid.
Yeah.
I think it's Cincinnati, Atlanta, Tennessee, and Houston. I think like it is just like crazy.
Yeah.
So in the case that he does win that job, which I think is very likely, at least to me, I think Mostert is still, a capable running back. But I just think Sermon just has like the youth on his side. He's not as dinged up and all that. That could be a league winning kind of a recipe. So that's, for me,
if he's the only running back that stays healthy, then they're going to love him, because everybody else, they play 2 or 3 games,
and then they got
they're
Gallman.
out for 3 games.
I like Gallman a lot too.
Gallman,
but I just think
they signed him.
But let me ask you, when you're looking at the future and you're looking at that team, yes, they have a packed room, but Mostert is 29, dude. He's almost 30, and he can't. I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I love him. But the
awesome story. Yeah,
awesome story.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I love Mostert, but he can't stay healthy. He's a solid. He's most efficient when he comes in from the number 2 role, from the number 3 role. He's not a bell cow back. Now Trey Sermon is built like a bell cow back.
Yeah, he's a monster, dude.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
And then you look at, I liked Jeff Wilson a lot, but that injury was very unfortunate, and it's going to push him down on the depth chart. Shanahan's not going to, they're not going to be playing the guys that come back if Sermon's got the hot hand. I can tell you right now, if Sermon starts to pick up steam as a rookie, Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and even Gallman, it's all those names don't come up to me they don't match up to Trey Sermon. So, I think Sermon needs 2 or 3 good games, and that backfield is his, man. And Steve, for you to get him in like the 8th round in a redraft, like that's wild to me.
Yep. And I think, I think he's got these first 6 weeks while Jeff Wilson is out to prove that he can do it. I think if he doesn't do it before Wilson comes back, he ends up being number 2 or number 3 on that depth chart. And with these first 6 weeks, there's a good to fair chance that Mostert doesn't play all those games either. So I think the first half of this season, he's got to show out. And if he does, that Trey Sermon pick in the 8th round is going to just be fire for you, man.
That's the plan.
Yeah, right. All right. I got a plan here. I'm going to see if it works out. Okay. I'm going quarterback. Let's see. In the 9th round, I'm going to go Baker Mayfield. He really came into that offense last year, the second half. He started hitting everybody. Nick Chubb finally kind of took off. He hits, Kareem Hunt in passes. Nick Chubb finally started to catch some passes last year. I think Baker Mayfield, I think he can really do it this year and take kind of a step on top of that and hopefully improve on what he did. Now, my plan worked, okay? Because then it went David Johnson, Will Fuller, Rob Gronkowski, Tyler Higbee. I'm going quarterback again, and this is going to be my potential quarterback here. Hopefully, depending on what happens, I'm going Deshaun Watson. I think taking Deshaun Watson in the 10th round could potentially be the steal of, and I kind of talked about this, well over a month ago with Rod when we were talking about quarterback 2s, that Deshaun Watson this late in the draft, if he plays, I got 2 QB1s.
That's true. And this late in the rounds to find guys like that, and you look at some of the names
with
that are
that
going
much
on board
upside.
Yeah. But it's also tricky because then he could really never play a single down.
True. That's true.
In the entire year. So
that's true. That's why I wanted to at least take Baker first. So at least I have that second quarterback. And then Deshaun Watson, he's just kind of sitting there. And if he plays, even if he plays the last half of the season. If they sit him for the first, however many weeks, he'll be there playoff time.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
I think in a more traditional super flex scenario, like what you were saying before, where like Brady and all these guys are gone by the fifth. You're not going to get them beyond the fifth round. So where I'm probably comfortable targeting Watson, if I really love my first however many picks around the 8th round, is where I think I would bite. But still, I just really like to load up.
That's still just a little. 8th round is just a little. But you're right. If I love my team and I can take that flyer, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, then it's just nothing but pure upside, 100%.
And the thing is, I mean, with Deshaun Watson, people don't know if he's playing, so God knows how long you can wait for him. A lot of that is I just don't want him to go away. So there's a good to fair chance I could have taken him in the 13th or the 14th, which is where I've taken him before. So after Deshaun Watson goes Justin Fields, Mike Williams. God, I love that pick.
Oh,
I am super high on him this year. I think he can be phenomenal in that offense this year. He's got the high yardage season. He's got the high touchdown season. Now he just needs to kind of mesh those two together. He's got to figure out a way to put the two together to make one fantastic season.
And he's at a very interesting point of his career where he's playing for that next contract.
Yes,
this season.
Yep.
So I just think he's going to be as motivated as ever to try to put it all together. It's a little bit of a narrative street kind of a thing, but still, as my wide receiver 4, I will take the guy who I think will end number 2 in targets on a Chargers offense that is run by Herbert, the young stud. So I'm all about it for sure.
Nice.
Yep.
And I'm on the clock. Sorry.
Yep. I'll resume that. You're on the clock now. What are you thinking here, Steve?
I'm thinking I'm going to get another wide receiver, and I'm just going to go with someone who is just perennially disrespected. I'm going to go with Marvin Jones, get a nice outside threat.
I'm high on Marvin Jones this year too. He makes me nervous for LaVisca, but I think Marvin Jones will be a good he'll be a good number 2 on that team. I'm not nervous about Chark at all. Urban Meyer apparently just despises him every time he gets the chance, but then other times he's like, no, he's good. Yeah. Apparently he plays really small.
Interesting.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard from Urban Meyer, that he played really small last year. All right, so I'm on the clock here. I gotta go running back here. I'm not a big fan of a lot of them, but there is one. I think this late in the draft, I'm gonna go Maul Williams. I think as high as I am on Swift, I do think that he kind of eats a little bit into his, at least the passing work. He did great with that in Green Bay, and I think they didn't bring him in for no reason. So I do think there's been a lot of talk of the 1-2 punch with the two of them. So I think Jamal Williams in the 11th round, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jamal Williams, yeah. He's and obviously in Detroit, man, Anthony Lynn loves to run the 2 running back sets.
Yeah.
And he loves to utilize 2 running backs.
Yep.
So Swift could still be a top 10 back, and Jamal Williams could put up a top 20 year.
Yes.
We've seen it happen. So it's a great pick to get Jamal at 11.
Yep. All right. And now that we're getting into the double-digit rounds, I don't mind reaching a little bit. One guy that I have been super high on coming in is Gabe Davis. I'm not so sure. Yeah, I'm reaching for him. I like him. Yeah, make the face.
Yeah, I think Lobo is gonna. He might shed a little tear there because that is his boy.
Yeah,
I thought about hitting the leave button right now.
See ya.
Show's done. I'm completely out.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah,
Yep.
I was that was my next pick.
Yep. I love Gabe Davis. I'm surprised that you did not take him in the last round, to be honest with you. But I was so happy that you didn't. So
yeah, man, I've been taking him right around the 12th, 13th, 14th round, and he was my next pick. Man, that's a phenomenal pick, dude. Yeah. I'm
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm speechless. Yeah.
And now we're not friends. So yeah.
And I just unfollowed you on Twitter. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And for my tight end this year, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You haven't gone tight end yet. You're really waiting until the end here.
Well,
what are you thinking?
If I didn't have the Dak and CD stack already, I'm thinking Jarwin in the 14th or the 15th. Jarwin is one of the most underrated tight ends in the league. Just because the league hasn't seen him. The league hasn't seen him play really, not a full season. And when he's been given the opportunity, when Witten went down, when he's been given the opportunity, he averages surprisingly right around 9 points per game, which is pretty good for a tight end in a PPR setting. So, but because I already have that stack, I'm going somewhere else. He looked phenomenal tonight. He is absolutely the tight end one there. And in an offense that's been proven to target the tight end 150 times a year up until last year, I'm taking Jonnu.
I think that's a great pick. That is a phenomenal pick. I think, especially with Hunter Henry going down. Apparently, Jonnu Smith can also be the RB1 from what we've seen. So I think picking him up right there, congratulations. Yeah,
I love that pick.
Team one just sniped me. Well, I guess a little bit. I was stuck between him and one other person. So I guess it makes, unless they don't make it to me either. Nope, they didn't make it to me. Thanks, Lobo. Look at that.
Rondale in Arizona.
Both picks right in a row. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 13-1. Rondale Moore, 13-2. Explain yourself.
For Rondale Moore?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bro. That in that offense, and obviously AJ Green for the last 3-4 years hasn't been able to stay healthy. Christian Kirk is not the answer there. He's had years to prove himself. Rondale Moore could come in and immediately be the wide receiver 2-3 and make an impact. He's a beast he's a freak, man. He's literally like an athletic freak, and he's able to go there, and he works very well with Kyler. I mean, we're gonna watch some peewee football between him and Kyler, but it's
the smallest guys out there.
Yeah, I think they're both underneath, like under 5'9" or 5'10" or whatever it is. No, man, I really like him in Arizona. I thought he was a great fit in Arizona. Fun fact is, I actually tweeted that he would go to Arizona the day before the draft. After I saw him, kind of where he was and where the cards went, I said Rondale Moore could very well be in Arizona. And sure as shit, they drafted him. And I said, he's a great fit there.
Yep. I think he did great there. Congratulations, especially because, like I said, that was my pick. So, okay, so I'm on the clock again. It went Amon-Ra, Rondale Moore, J.D. McKissick, Latavius Murray, Cole Beasley, Phillip Lindsay, Alexander Madison, Chuba Hubbard. Great pick with that one. Zach Ertz went team 9. I'm on the clock. I'm going to go another tight end here. Somebody who has been getting a lot of hype. I'm going Gerald Everett out of Seattle. I think that he can really contribute this year. I think it seems that Pete Carroll likes him a lot.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with that camp coach speak, but he seems to really have been showing out when he was there. So, yeah, I have no problem with Gerald Everett there in the 13th round at all.
No, that's a great pick, man. In that offense, Russell hasn't really had much of the tight end there in the last couple of years, and he's a great tight end. He just needs the volume. So hopefully Russ can give
exactly.
it to him.
They just got to give him the ball, and I think he can do a lot with it.
Yep.
All right, it went Tua, Devontae Booker, Daniel Jones, Tevin Coleman, and I'm back on the clock. And I'm going to go wide receiver again here, just because I think that he moved to a really good situation. I kind of like the role that he's stepping into on the other side of the ball. I'm going to go Emmanuel Sanders. little bit of a reach.
Okay.
But at this
Yeah.
point, you just kind of take your guys who you like. And I think Emmanuel Sanders can really produce out there on the other side of the ball. So.
Okay. And I like it because you're securing that Gabe Davis pick. A lot of people aren't big on Gabe Davis because they are big on Emmanuel Sanders, which,
especially, in the 14th round, if Gabe Davis takes over and Emmanuel's, that's what I like about these last 2 rounds is these guys, if I take them and they produce, great. If they don't, sayonara. I try not to draft for that, but it's always in the back of your mind,
Oh, for sure. I will say this man right here with my last pick in this is perfect.
Last round, Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet in Chicago. I was big on him last year. He gets a real quarterback in Justin Fields this year. The training camp report so far is that man is a red zone magnet, as we expected him to be. And I think Cole Kmet can have a phenomenal year this year.
Are you worried about Jimmy Graham?
Not in the least bit.
No,
not in the least bit.
Me either.
It was a conversation the other day. Brett Brito called it out and said, like, hey, I'm very concerned about, or I guess he's not bought into Cole Kmet because from week 12 on, Cole Kmet actually crushed the snap count. He outpaced Jimmy Graham every week from week 12 on. And but that still didn't really turn into points. It didn't turn into the production. And my thing is, again, going back to the rookie production for tight ends, just doesn't happen. But what doesn't usually happen either is they don't usually take over the snap count their rookie season, which is why their production is so low. But you saw Cole kind of take over that offense, and I think this year is going to be big for him, man. And I think very similar to the situation. Even in other places like San Francisco where they have good rookies, they're not going to spend any time trying to build rapport with some of these older dudes when they have rookies that they got to get going.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Kmet's in for a good year.
I think he should have been way better last year. I think the quarterback play sometimes hindered him a little bit. I can't remember what game it was, but they were down in the red zone and running out to the right side, and Cole Kmet's wide open there in the end zone, and they just throw it right in the dirt. It's just like, and then Jimmy Graham, I think, scored the next play, to be honest. So I couldn't believe it, and I was just like, come on. So I think a lot of it wasn't his fault, but these guys, I think he'll be better. I think Jimmy Graham slowly starts to fizzle out here starting this year, a lot more than he did last year. So he's just kind of a nuisance is the problem.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Traquan Smith, Paris Campbell, Rashad Penny, Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow makes me nervous. Okay. And I'll tell you why. I am worried that Tim Tebow is going to come in every time that they're in the, 5 to 10 yard range in the red zone and just wildcat score every single time. And then we're all just going to be left here like, you weren't supposed to do that. Like,
yeah. I
didn't draft you because you weren't supposed to do that.
I don't know what to make of that.
I don't know. And I hear
for a while
that they're trying to kind of use him in that way in camp and some practice. They've had a couple plays, but how often do they do them is really what it is.
For a while, I was really wondering if it was even going to make the team,
Exactly. And that was the other thing.
Yeah,
but maybe Meyer just brings him on just as a locker room guy. Honestly, he's got tremendous leadership ability. I mean, you love him for that, but just hire him as a coach. I don't know. Don't waste a roster spot on someone who can't. And maybe he can still has it. I try not to get too.
Have you seen video of him?
I saw one, and he still moves pretty good. Yeah, he's a beast, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, he packed on 40 pounds since the last time he played.
Yeah,
he could really frustrate the James Robinson owner or the Travis Etienne owner. I don't know.
Sometimes the Trevor Lawrence. I mean, if he comes in, Trevor Lawrence comes out. All of a sudden, Tebow runs in the ball, and Trevor Lawrence can't throw the ball.
Very true.
Anything
if
is
Tebow
possible.
does another jump pass from the goal line, it'll set Twitter ablaze.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to stay off Twitter for 3 days if that happens.
Yeah.
All right.
sure.
Steve went Hayden Hurst with his last pick.
I
What are you
did.
thinking there?
So
Kyle Pitts is going to bust?
what? No. What I did there was I pretty much punted on the tight end position.
Uh-huh.
I was debating between Jonnu and Troutman in the 12th round. I deferred to Troutman. I'm hoping that Jameis Winston is a quarterback there for fantasy purposes. Now with Hurst, I love that both Troutman and him are in the NFC South, a very fantasy friendly division there. But there's reports that Pitts could very likely be used as a wide receiver in that offense. So that still would open up a tight end specific role for Hurst in the Atlanta offense, where Matt Ryan led the league in passing attempts last year. He's a notorious top 10 pass attempts, type of quarterback. So you really like that for someone like Hurst, where there's going to be playing catch up all the time at a very scarce position at the tight end position. So at that point, just kind of take a chance if Troutman doesn't work out. Now, in this particular scenario, I'd try to use some of my depth, at the other positions to try to get a tight end that's a little bit better or a little bit safer to, use depending on the breakout ability of Troutman there. But I do like Hurst as a deep sleeper with Pitts being used potentially as a wide receiver, which he basically is. So, yeah.
Good. No, I agree. So you're fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. You're safe. Jacoby Myers goes right after Hayden Hurst. With my last pick, I am going to go Edwards. Bryan Edwards out of Las Vegas. I think he can really step up this year. They've been hyping him up all camp. Ruggs is not a whole lot planning out to what we thought he was going to be, or what he thought he was going to be at least. And I think Bryan Edwards, I know he didn't do a whole lot last year, but I think he can do a lot this year. Waller can't catch everything as much as they try to. He does, but eventually you got to throw the ball somewhere else, right? And why not Bryan Edwards?
Yeah.
It was fascinating because he fell a little bit in the draft because he was coming in injured. I guess his final year of college. So that made him drop down a little bit. Then that slowed his start into his rookie season. But he has all the tools. He's got the ideal X receiver size. And what I would want to hopefully see here is that Las Vegas does feed, more than just Waller. Because it was like Waller would get 10 plus targets a week. Everyone else was like 2-3 targets. It was like really skewed week in, week out. It was like kind of gross, but from a fantasy perspective. So hopefully if that levels out as your wide receiver 7, I think it is like that's just nothing but upside. So I really like that a lot. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. And that's kind of, with that last pick, that's kind of all you're hoping for. It's just nothing but upside. And I think he's got it. He's just another one. To be honest, I'm surprised he lasted until the 15th round, because I know that there's a lot of other people that are really high in him and getting higher. He's been working his way up my boards lately. So I just like what I see. What do they compare him? Terrell Owens and
Owens, and I forgot the other comparison, but
who is it?
Dude, that is a tough comparison. Or not,
I don't like comparisons like that because that's a high bar to stand up to.
Oh, extremely.
But guys, Terrell, now it's gonna bother me. Terrell Owens. I don't know. I'm going to remember it at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm going to text you guys. So be prepared.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then I'm like, wait, we have to quickly hop back on so that we can tell everybody. All right. So that concludes the draft. Lobo, why don't we start with you? What's your team look like?
Oof, man, I personally love my team. Going through, I got my quarterback, just going through my quarterbacks, Mahomes and Dak. Two QB1 quarterbacks who could end as QB1 this year, potentially for both. If not both in the top 3 for QBs. My running back room, starting with Najee, going to Najee, Ronald Jones, Damian Harris as my RB3. I feel very confident in that. The stack with CD, DJ Moore, and Chase Claypool. Obviously, the biggest concern there is just Claypool. He could be wide receiver 3 in that depth chart. He could be wide receiver 1 on the targets. Just really depends once we start to see what that offense looks like. But as my wide receiver 3, I'll take it, man. Jonnu Smith is my starting tight end. And then in my flex, having Tyler Boyd as my wide receiver 4. I mean, shit, I could flex him in there for Chase Claypool.
Oh, yeah.
Just looking at that. So, on the bench, Darnell Mooney, AJ Dillon, who is either one injury away.
I think he vultures touchdowns like crazy this year. That's what worries me. I'm worried that those big, thick thighs are going to run in 3 yards out a lot.
You know how many, so fun, and it was Jake Estes tweeted this the other day, and it was a great call out because it was exactly what I said going into this year. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball from the 1 yard line last year 36 times.
A lot. Isn't that insane?
Well, it just means that they don't.
Wow. They don't run the ball from the 1.
They just didn't believe in.
That's a lot.
As many touchdowns as Aaron Jones, has ran it in. He threw the ball 36 times from the 1 yard line.
That's a lot.
That is, and you know what? Maybe it's not from the 1. It's inside the 5. I think it was. I'm sorry.
Still,
I may be misspeaking on that, but still, yeah. Inside the 5 to throw that ball that many times. And I think we can go to Fantasy Pros and look that up. So, whoever's listening to this, fact check me, call me out on it.
They will, don't worry.
Call me out on it absolutely, but I'm almost positive from inside the 5, Aaron Rodgers was the number 1 quarterback with over, like I said, 35 attempts, which is 35, 36. Unbelievable, which I think really turned into AJ. And also as dominant as Aaron Jones has been, we've seen the lack of commitment to Aaron Jones, unfortunately, there. With Jamal Williams, there were games in the past couple of years where Jamal Williams outsnapped Aaron Jones for no reason at all. And I think we continue to see that with Dillon. And then Derek Carr is my QB3 for those bye week fillers. He's just a consistent man. He's not going to give me a 30, 40 point week. He's not going to give me a 5, 10 point week, maybe. He's just consistent. And then Rondell Moore and Cole Kmet, dude, I dig this team.
Yeah, good for you, buddy. I like your team. I think you did a great job. What about you, Steve? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, so at quarterback, I have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson as my starting 2. Never going to bench those guys. I expect a high ceiling, high floor with those types of guys. Then my third quarterback is a guy who I think has interesting prospects moving forward in his career, and that's Sam Darnold. And I was trying to make sure that I had the bye weeks covered, so we're good there. But I just kind of think Darnold is a bit intriguing as a QB3, right? Like not as a QB2, QB3. Involved in a Joe Brady offense in a wide receiver core. That's the best he's ever played with. It just really excites me. DJ
you
Moore
like him
and
a lot
Robbie
better than
Anderson.
I do, I'll tell you that.
And it's very possible, so second to last round pick.
Yeah.
He's a guy I'm more than happy to take. At the running back position, Antonio Gibson, David Montgomery, a pretty robust RB start to the super flex. Safe. I just can't defer from that. Yeah. I do like anchor RB as a default option. You kind of went that way, but I just feel better having 2 in my, according to my ranks, 2 top 15 running backs. Then behind them, Trey Sermon, who we already talked about, and Zach Moss, who we already talked about. Then Chuba Hubbard. At that point of the draft, he was my I thought he was the best available handcuff. So if Christian McCaffrey, and we don't want this to happen, but if he is to miss time for whatever reason,
he jumps right in.
There's no one else. There's no one else. And Chuba is I felt he really felt in the draft for what he was able to show his junior season. Then his senior season, a little shaky, whatever. But at that point, it was like kind of an obvious, if I'm looking for a handcuff, that is just a great situation to get into. Real quickly here, I'll go through my wide receivers. Adam Thielen, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Mike Williams, Marvin Jones. Bunch of wide receiver twos as my starters, but these are guys who I just think are very solid, kind of a nice mix of ceiling and safe floor options. Thielen, I'm not expecting all the touchdowns to come back, but he's just watching him play. That's a guy I want on my team.
It seems like he still got it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So really like that. I like the upside that Mike Williams holds, as well as Marvin Jones. Then tight ends to round that out, Adam Troutman and Hayden Hurst. Talked about them a little bit. I just like the potential high passing volume that you'll see in the offenses that they're in. Then also with Troutman, the absence of Michael Thomas, I think, could potentially give him a little boost. And by a little boost, I think Troutman had 1 catch last year. You know what I mean? So like anything more than
2 catches.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think that there is legitimate opportunity for him as a breakout spot. And it was funny. I was hoping to get Evan Ingram there. Like that's how desperate I was getting at tight end at that point. But he went a few picks ahead of me to a team that already had Gronkowski. So I don't know what the heck went on there. But happy to have Troutman and Hurst just as a upside option at that position.
Beautiful.
So I like it.
Absolutely beautiful. Good. So my team, let's see, my quarterbacks are Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Deshaun Watson. Kyler Murray, obviously. Deshaun Watson, he's kind of the one who I think can, if he plays, it's phenomenal. If he doesn't, then is it a waste of pick? Yeah, maybe. But I think there's just so much upside and that's all it is does he play or doesn't he play? If he plays, he's top 10. If he doesn't play, then, I got to go a different route. But that's kind of why I picked up Baker Mayfield first. I think he really fell into that offense the second half of the season last year. And so I think he'll just kind of continue to build off of that. My running backs, I'm not too proud of my running backs. I did have to kind of go anchor running back a little bit because I was picking towards the end of the draft. Aaron Jones and Kenyon Drake. I love Aaron Jones. Kenyon Drake, I don't think it's a terrible pick. I picked him up in the 8th round. And then I went Jamal Williams. And I mean, those are my running backs. And I think that they're not terrible. I think they can still produce. But I definitely like the Aaron Jones pick. And the reason I had to go anchor RB was because I went McLaurin, Robinson, and Deontay Johnson with my next 3 wide receivers. And I think those can really help propel and make up for the lack of running back production that I'm potentially going to have. LaVisca on top of that. I mean, I think he can be just a monster. That he was really kind of coming into the team last year in terms of passes and the rushing attempts that they were giving him. And then I went Gabe Davis, which was, I love Gabe Davis this year. I think he really has a chance to shine.
You've been following my tweets too long, man.
I save them. I have them. Yeah, I'm over here. You actually think I'm over here doing sleep, or I'm actually scrolling through all of your old tweets that you like. So that's how I draft from now on. So, and then I also have Emmanuel Sanders and Bryan Edwards. I mean, 2 guys, especially Bryan Edwards. I think he has huge upside this year, especially for my last pick of the draft. I mean, that's all it is upside with that kind of pick. My tight ends, TJ Hawkinson and Gerald Everett. I love Hawkinson this year. I think he's going to catch every ball. To be honest, I don't think Gerald Everett is going to be a whole lot different. I don't think he gets the volume that Hawkinson does, obviously, because there's so many weapons in Seattle, but I don't see the chances of him balling out versus not, I think are way different. I think he produces pretty well this year. But Hawkinson, I can't leave a draft without Hawkinson is like my breaking point. If I don't get him in the 4th or 5th round, then kind of like you, Steve, I'm waiting. Actually, you waited too, Lobo, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I like to leave with one of those top end tight ends, it's so finicky that I would rather have, more or less the sure thing than the hopeful for my number one at the position. And then there we go.
Yeah, looks good.
All right. Good job, guys. What'd you think?
Love my team, man. I think it's great.
Beautiful.
It's played out.
Yeah, right. I know. I would say yes, but I got Kenyon Drake as my RB2, which, I mean, he could surprise.
That's a fun experiment, though.
Yeah, exactly. It would be. And that's the thing is I don't normally go anchor RB. I love going elite, and then move on to wide receivers. And I didn't have much of a choice. I wasn't expecting that draft to go that running back heavy that quickly. I mean, there was, like I said, I took Aaron Jones, and by the time I took my next pick, I didn't like any of them. I didn't like anybody for that third round. I would rather have waited, and I'm glad I did because I got McLaurin and Robinson right in row. 3, 4. Let's see, who was my fifth pick? My fifth pick was Hawk, and then I went Johnson right after that.
Yep.
So I do like that. I will admit that I love my pass catchers. I think they can be. There's a lot of to the moon ability.
Yeah,
in my wide receiver core. So good job, guys. What I would like to do actually is hopefully we'll get these kind of screenshotted and we'll post them and see what everybody else thinks, and
I like that.
See who won the draft. I'm surprised you didn't go Carson Wentz, Lobo.
I wanted him.
I know that he's like your QB1 this year, right? You didn't go with him first.
I would have been very content with him as a QB3, but
yeah. Apparently he got too many bones in his feet. He just had to have them taken out.
Yeah, one had to be removed. So, yeah.
I joke, but we sat here, me and you, a month ago today, and each gave 2 picks of who we thought would break out. Season hasn't even started yet. We're already 1 for 2.
Yep.
I mean, it's just Michael Thomas and Carson Wentz are both out, and Carson Wentz could still come back. We don't know. They're saying that he's doing okay. He's trending towards week 1, but we'll see. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. Yeah. Already we're tilting. Yeah. Season hasn't even started yet. So
right as it started. Yep.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. And that Michael Thomas news came out after we recorded, but before the show posted.
Yep.
So that was fun.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I texted you like first thing that morning, like, dude.
Yep, that was literally. I remember that, and I'm like, man, that's tough luck.
Yeah, I could not believe that. Well, good. That was a great show, guys. I loved it. Thank you so much for coming on. I love mock drafts. They are so fun. Lobo, why don't you tell people? I know you got some big things coming up. Why don't you start off and tell everybody where to find you, what you're working on here lately?
Absolutely. So, guys, Lobo's FF Den, come find me. I am there. Always willing to chat some football. Got some great articles coming out from FF Faceoff. Wrote my first one a few weeks ago around just, one rookie from each round in the first 5 rounds. Obviously had to include my boy Najee in there with that first round. Second round was Javonte Williams. Go take a look at that. FF Faceoff, some great crews there. Also write for Dynasty Pros, out for Dynasty Pros. It's got to get some articles written out there as well. And then starting in September, that's actually very exciting. And I announced it on Twitter, but I'll be co-hosting over there with Dave at Dynasty Dorks. Awesome guy.
Love it.
We've got a fat, awesome, stacked crowd over there and line up between myself and Nate and Jeremy and Dave and Justin, and we'll be co-hosting I will be on Tuesdays. We'll have shows Tuesdays and Fridays, but just feel free to tune and tag along, guys. So that's me. I'll hand it over to Steve. Here's the baton.
Absolutely. Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah. So this season I'll be writing a weekly start sit article for IDP guys, and we'll be putting out hopefully a weekly article with Dynasty Pros as well. My most recent article that I had written was actually my debut with IDP guys, and that was identifying my favorite auction draft value targets based on baseline auction values. Since auction drafts are a little volatile and how they can play out, I just wanted to identify the best baseline values, who to target. The follow-up to that is coming out in probably a week or so. That are my least favorite auction value targets. So guys, I'm fading at their baseline value. So you could keep an eye out for that for sure.
And
Absolutely.
Steve doesn't give himself enough credit, but he's an absolute auction king.
Oh man,
So,
he is my
any
go-to.
questions that you
Yep.
guys have on auction, go to Steve.
I know that I have been hitting you up for auction questions, mainly like, what do I do? Is a lot of the question I ask you. Because
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you are my go-to auction guy. So yes, if you have any auction questions, Fantasy Ladder Steve is your boy. He has all the info. He has forgotten more auction draft information than you'll ever learn. So good job, guys. That was a great show. I loved it. That was so much fun. We'll have to do this again. We might be able to squeeze one more in before the season. We'll see. It's coming up on us real quick. I know that. So
anytime you just let me know, I'm there.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll get like a 2-show week going that week, and we'll do a regular show and we'll squeeze a mock draft in there or something. So that's our show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I am the Sam Adams analyst, your host, Thad Sosa. This has been the Fantasy Football Chaos Show. And with that, we are out.